Ever tried to light up and, bam, your lighter's out of fuel? No backup, just standing there. Frustrating, right? We've all faced those little moments. So, how do you make sure you're never left stranded when you need a spark? Let's explore some ways. First step, mark the base of the lighter. This line makes cutting precise and avoids mistakes. See the 1/2 on the screen? It means I have 2 ways to make use of this lighter, and this is only the first. The first step is easy, no obstacles at all. Here I have an empty plastic bottle, and my plan is to attach the cut part of the lighter to its cap. In this step, I mark the cap along the lighter's base, then cut along the marked line. Although it's fixed in place, there are still some cracks and gaps here. Now we'll find a way to fix them. This is baking soda. If you sprinkle it into the gap and then add a drop of glue, it will bond tightly, almost like it's one solid piece. Now the glue has completely dried, and the cracks are sealed tight with no gaps left. Next, we'll work on the empty plastic bottle. I have a small bottle containing gasoline, and I plan to use it as the fuel for this homemade lighter. To be safe, I wrap tape tightly so the gas won't leak out. Alright. We'll shake these things hard to get ready for the test. The first method worked, and honestly it worked better than I'd hoped. Something that looked done for suddenly came back to life. Light, clean, and smooth. Watching that tiny flame spark up again hits different. It's not about the lighter itself. It's about that feeling of bringing something back with your own hands. What makes it satisfying isn't the trick, it's the mindset, the curiosity to try, the patience to see it through. Each little fix like this teaches you more than just how things work. It reminds you what a bit of focus and grit can do. Solid, simple, and done right, that's the first method wrapped up. Now on to the second one. First step of method 2, I pull the flint out of the lighter. Small, hard, handy, the plan is to use it as a sharpening stone for a knife. The removal is quick, no fuss. The point is turning a cast-off part into something useful on the spot. Now, grab another flint from a different lighter. Having two of the same kind makes sharpening smoother and easier to handle. There are 2 rivets on the cap. Pick one, thread the 2 flints onto its shaft so they sit snug. Having them side by side like that makes them easy to work with when you need to sharpen or use them later. For the other rivet, I pop the cap off by tapping the shaft repeatedly into the ground until the cap comes loose. Once the cap is off, I secure it back onto the rivet shaft so the 2 flints are pressed tightly together. This keeps them stable and prevents wobbling during use. Here, I press lightly on the rivet cap, just to make the sharpening tool look nicer without cutting or damaging anything. Alright, the next step is to attach the tool to the drill bit so we can start sharpening the knife. I have a dull kitchen knife here. Let's check it first to confirm it really needs sharpening before we turn on the drill. I felt the knife's sharpness. Now let's see how it performs. First test, cutting paper. It cut a perfect line. The first test was way too easy. Cutting paper was easy, but it's not convincing enough. The next test will be a bit tougher to prove its credibility. By this point, I think it's a success. Method 2 is complete. The flint sharpening tool works smoothly and the dull knife is now sharp. Looking back at both experiments, the lesson is clear. Nothing is useless if you know how to reuse it. Items that seem ready to be thrown away with a bit of care and patience can become useful tools. It's not just about lighters or knives, it's about seeing the value around you, repairing, reusing, and making the most of everything.